How can we be better investors? This is something I'm always asking myself because one of my main missions here on this channel is to encourage as many people as possible to invest. And I have to admit, it's difficult. The majority of 18-year-olds in the country would rather be scrolling through social media or playing video games than learning how to invest. Even one mention of the word pension or retirement makes them switch off. Beyond the younger generation, even convincing ordinary people that they should be investing now with finances stretched so much with the cost of living is becoming more difficult than ever. InvestEngine recently released a report called Building a Nation of Investors, which has some interesting findings based on research they have conducted. I want to share my key takeaways on this report and give you my opinion on what needs to change to better our country and our lives as a whole. It may come as no shock, but we are currently living in pretty challenging financial times. Household budgets have become stretched and people having to spend more of their income on their day-to-day outgoings. This means that putting money aside for the future has understandably been put on the back burner by many, ultimately making it harder to plan for milestones in life. Although it may seem like it, this isn't only an isolated issue, only emphasising trends which have existed for a long time. As a nation, we need to be better with our money. Inflation in the UK and household debt is higher than most other countries in Europe. Add on to that an energy crisis and it's putting a huge strain on people's finances, especially heading into the colder months. It's clear to see that a change is needed both in our culture towards personal finance and the government's role in helping people have better financial education. Investing is the best route for the majority of people to grow long-term wealth, so we need to work out how we help people achieve that and give people confidence and make sure they understand how it works. Once you realise the power of investing and how much you can better your financial position, it's a no-brainer. But unfortunately, the current place we're in now is challenging. Before we can look at how to solve these problems, we need to understand what the challenges are and how the current economic landscape may be making things worse. Where we are now, people are having to dip into their savings to fund their everyday living expenses, such as childcare, housing costs and day-to-day bills. People have been withdrawing record amounts from banks and building societies according to the latest data from the Bank of England. The biggest debt that most people have is their mortgage, as well as it also being their most valuable asset. But there's a problem. Property prices have increased at a much faster pace than wages for the last 4 decades. The average house price in June 2009 was just $159,561, whereas in June 2023 it reached $287,546, a staggering 80% increase. If we compare that to the average annual earnings being $25,806 in 2009, which at the time seemed pretty respectable, but that has only risen to £33,000 in 2023, just 28% in the same time period. This has led to people increasingly being priced out of buying a property, or they're taking on much bigger mortgages. The survey results found that 82% of adults in the UK said they think getting on the property ladder has become harder for younger generations, and 47% said it's become less of a secure investment. And what's sad is that now people are expecting to rely more on inheritance from family to support their retirement plans. 1 in 5 18 to 54-year-olds said that they will be funding their own retirement through family inheritance. Faced with rising prices and the longer-term challenges in growing wealth, it's no wonder saving or investing is no longer a priority for many, by no fault of their own. And this next point was pretty scary. The FCA said that more than half, 56% of UK adults have stopped investing or saving. But with a state pension not being high enough to provide enough income for a comfortable retirement for most people, it's important we tackle these challenges head on. What I found really interesting about this report is how they compared the UK to Germany, a country who has similar goals to us, but a different approach. German consumers are much less likely to be in debt and are financially more secure. A large portion of this is down to saving plans being a much larger part of their culture, which has created a strong mindset of investing over the past 20 years. A savings plan is an investment vehicle that allows you to put money aside each month to help you reach a financial goal. Traditionally, people may have direct debits into a savings account, but they also exist in investing. You can invest directly each month into exchange-traded funds. ETF saving plans are particularly popular in Germany already. According to BlackRock, 4.9 million investors were contributing to these plans in 2022, over 90% of which are investors located in Germany, up from 1.9 million in 2019 and 3 million in 2021. The major growth of ETFs in Germany is part due to savings plans being introduced in 2004 after pension reforms in their country, with ETF-specific saving plans following shortly after. Saving plans are one of the best features that InvestEngine has on their platform and one of the key reasons I recommend the platform. Inside your portfolio, you can click and set up a savings plan and choose if you'd like to pay in weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. What this does is set up a fixed amount to be automatically invested right after each top-up into your desired ETFs. This feature is particularly helpful because it helps you average into the market so you buy consistently, and then you don't have to worry about it. You could pretty much set it up and come back in 20 years' time to see the result. What I also like is a feature I just discovered recently. Although I'm just buying a couple of ETFs within my portfolio, I can actually dive into the analytics to see how much I've got invested in specific countries. For example, I can see I've got 71,000 in North America, 7,000 in Japan, and 5,000 in the UK. I can also go into sectors and see how much I've got in specific sectors. Or in holdings, I can see how much I've got in specific stocks. So for example, 5,000 in Apple or 2,000 in Amazon. What's great about InvestEngine and what makes them a great partner for me as a creator is, in my opinion, they're clearly the best option. They've got 0% management fees on their DIY portfolios, as well as a really well-designed platform. And they've got built-in portfolio rebalancing, which makes it really the clear option for me to recommend to people. They've been kind enough to give me a link where you can sign up and get a welcome bonus of up to £50, which I'll pop down below. So what do we have in common with Germany, and where do we differ, and what can we learn? The research conducted draws on the views of thousands of British and German people. It shows that we have a lot of similar financial goals: to grow our wealth, afford a holiday, while still being able to put funds aside for a comfortable retirement. They also found that we're investing similar amounts. An average across everyone who participated shows the UK put aside £306 a month, while Germans put aside €308. While we do share similar goals and put away similar amounts, the way we actually manage our money differs quite significantly. People in Germany feel more confident about the ability to manage their money. And when the survey asked people to rank the G10 countries by how their population manages their money, clearly put themselves at the top, with about 65% agreeing. They also ranked the UK among the worst when it came to money management, as did Italy and the US. In comparison, we were way more negative about ourselves, putting the UK in the middle of the list, and in fact below Germany. Only 27% of us Brits felt that we are good with our personal finances as a nation. One major difference was that Germans were way more confident when it came to the idea of investing their money. We were more likely to prioritise cash savings over investing, or to prioritise owning a property and financial security. Although this may be in part that home ownership isn't as high a priority in other countries, renting is much more normal. What's more crucial though is nearly half, 48% of Germans, said that they would prefer to invest their money over save it, compared to only a third of people in the UK saying the same. While we're both putting aside similar amounts per month, we're starting much later in life. In Germany, the 18 to 34 age group are the ones that are saving the most of their money, while in the UK it's 35 to 54-year-olds, which of course doesn't bode well for compound interest. Key difference here is financial education. 46% of Germans said they learned about it in school, while only 32% of British people did. I actually think that number may be much lower if you found the true source. I, for certain, never heard a single mention of investing through my entire education right till the end of university. We also lack knowledge in specific investment products. When InvestEngine asked 2,000 people earlier in the year if they'd heard of ETFs, more than half said no, which compared to just 17% of the 2,000 people in Germany, which was a similar picture across different types of investments. The data shows it's clear that people in Germany are starting earlier and in general are more likely to invest and have a better financial education, with a stronger understanding of different types of investments, which in turn is giving them a better chance of building up their wealth in the long run. Germany has successfully created a saving and investment culture which starts with education about personal finance from an early age. We need to see this replicated in the UK and the government doing more to encourage people, showing them how investing could support them and put them in a much better position in the long run. We know that British people favour saving over investing. When asked, 48% of people would prefer to save their money rather than invest it, and 1 in 5 just weren't sure. While high interest rates that are now being offered make cash savings more appealing, we know this isn't the norm and that over a long period of time it doesn't match the returns that investing can offer. When it comes to getting into investing, the best route for many will be through an individual savings account, or an ISA. The account comes with various advantages and can act as a wrapper for your investments, and shielding any returns you make on up to £20,000 a year from the tax, and this could be increased in the future. While there are several types of accounts, the most common that people use are cash ISAs and a stocks and shares ISA. Through data obtained through HMRC through a Freedom of Information request, Stocks and shares now make up 36% of all ISAs, which has increased from 22% the previous year. Likewise, the amount that's held in accounts is up to $556 billion from $315 in 2019, which is up 45%, which is huge. The problem is cash ISAs still outweigh this by a long way. Just 7% of UK adults paid into a stocks and shares ISA in 2021-2022. There's also now an increasing number of ISA millionaires, but the analysis shows that even if someone waxed out a cash ISA since 1999 when ISAs were first introduced, based on them getting the average interest for each tax year, they'd only have amassed $274,000 in their accounts. This means that for most people who are looking to grow their long-term wealth, interest on cash deposits can't compete with the potential returns of investing in stocks and shares. We need efforts to be made to educate people on the value of investing for the long term. With us being in an era of high inflation, cash savings have the risk of depleting in value. While stats show that investing outperforms cash in the long run and is the best way to beat inflation. If the government were to break down barriers to investing, maybe they could create one investing account which could contain your personal pensions, stocks and shares ISA, and your general investment account in one place. Millions more savers would be engaged with the role of investing. This could help demystify investing and make it feel like more of a normal thing to do. Hopefully this could increase not only the amount of people who invest, but manage their money appropriately for different stages of their life. The research found out of 2,000 people asked, 66% of people aged over 18 wished they'd started saving or investing for their future at a younger age. This rises to 73% for people aged 35 to 54. We need to move away from this perception that investing is difficult. There are a wide range of modern, low-cost and automated options available today that are making investing easier to navigate than ever before. On a little bit of a tangent, the study also found some interesting points. 1 in 5, 90% of men say they have a stocks and shares ISA, while only 1 in 10, 9% of women save into one. Women are also likely to be far more risk adverse. Just 16% of women favour high-risk investments compared to 29% of men. However, the research shows that women who do invest tend to be better at it than men, due to being more likely to have diverse portfolios and less likely to indulge in lottery-style investing. In a study of 2,800 investors, Warwick Business School found that annual returns on investments portfolios held by women were 1.94% above the performance of the FTSE. Annual returns on investments for men were just 0.14% above it, meaning female investors outperformed men by 1.8%, which I found quite interesting. I know I am definitely more risky with my investments than my partner, and I know very few women who actually invest compared to men, which is sad. I feel this is also reflecting my demographic where I have a much higher split of men to women. It may just be because I'm a guy in general, but I would love to get more women investing. But what we really need to do is create an investment culture. The value of long-term investing is clear and can definitely support people in major milestones in their life, like buying your first property or retirement. Now, with the addition of lifetime ISAs, if started early enough, this can be very beneficial for the younger generation, and also with the bonus contributions offered for pensions. This is particularly important given that many of the places Brits tended to have their money, like property, are now being perceived as less secure than they once were, and they certainly don't grow in value like they have. 40% of people said they're currently thinking about alternative ways to invest their money so they can still achieve their financial goals. This is particularly high for young people, 60%, who have also talked about the challenges in getting onto the property ladder and the difficulties they face in building up funds for later life. When people were asked what would draw them to investing, people said they would choose low-risk products, low fees, and the ability to put money away every month into a range of investments. People want help with creating a portfolio, the ability to check performance daily, and the ability to know exactly what funds their money is being invested into. We know that ETFs offer the things people want from investment products, like a more diverse, easy, and in my opinion, a less risky option, but awareness of them is still lacking in the UK. A lot of beginner investors feel like they need support in getting started and help managing their funds. Financial education and making ISAs simpler in the UK is needed, as well as challenging the perception that investing is difficult and scary. Half of the battle, which doesn't help, is options provided by some of the legacy providers don't reflect the low-cost options today. Investment products that banks in particular tend to offer aren't clear and perhaps could put you in not so favourable investments, as well as the fact that I feel a lot of the more historic brokers are way too complex for beginners. And as much as complex can be good, it's not always the best, as it can be way too overwhelming for a beginner. I would consider myself very technical, and I started on Hargreaves Lansdown, which was a lot more complex back then. which, to be honest, was quite a learning curve. Promoting savings plans could be a huge step, in particular ETF ones, because it breaks down the belief that you need a huge amount to invest. Investing with just a small amount is a brilliant start. There was 5 steps InvestEngine felt would make investing more accessible. The first was to introduce a single ISA. Instead, just create one all-purpose ISA which covers both savings and shares. One single limit between them with supporting educational materials. Saving in this one account may mean that people would be more inclined to invest if it was just a couple of taps on your phone, rather than going through the whole process of having to open all these different accounts each time. They could also rename ISAs as tax-free accounts to make the message much clearer and enticing. The third was to centralize pensions and investments and integrate payroll integrations so investing is as commonplace as paying tax. They would also like to see industry players work directly with ETF providers to make this seamless and easy. The fourth was to actually maintain the ISA limit at £20,000. Most people won't come close to that, and there's definitely a risk if it's increased that it will feel like something that's just for the wealthy and not for everybody. Thankfully, the government have frozen it this year, but it could increase in the future. And 5, most importantly, is to increase financial education. More action by the government is needed to get this in school and help people move away from cash as a default option. I think these steps could go a long way encouraging more people to invest, as it's really sad to see the decline in number of people investing. If you have a second to like and perhaps subscribe to push this video to as many people as possible and my channel to more people, this would be massively appreciated and it's free. I'm trying my best to reach as many people as possible, so hopefully this will reach some more people. Let me know what your thoughts are around this. How do you think we could be better? Perhaps if we just all helped one person we know get started, we could make a real change.